Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. I hope you can hop on with me here. Have I got anybody? Come on and hop on. We've got lots to talk about today. What I keep getting asked is, why should I assess my child and how often should I do it? And let me just say that when I start getting asked about this sort of thing, it's usually because the teacher or the parent are noticing that the child isn't thriving or experiencing success and that they're getting concerned. And they should be. Because usually by that time, the child's struggles have become very real and they are affecting them in some very negative ways. And when kids are struggling to learn what seems easy for their classmates, they notice that, and it affects their confidence and their willingness to take risks. And that's when they develop those coping mechanisms, right, that do nothing to solve the underlying issues. Now, I'm a reading and spelling specialist, but let me relate this to math. There are two very well-known tutoring centers, and I won't name names, but if you take your child to one of them, they're going to ask what the child is struggling with at school in math, and that's what they're going to work on teaching them. Now, the other tutoring center does an assessment of each child that shows them what their basic math skills are, where the holes in their learning are, and that's where they start. They start where the learning has stopped. So which tutoring center do you think is more successful? Well, it's the second one, right? The one that does the assessment, because they know that you can't teach a kid algebra if they haven't learned the basic foundational math facts, right? And it's the same with literacy. You can't teach a child to write a paragraph if they can't write a sentence. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of kids that aren't thriving in the classroom setting, and it's not really surprising when you think about it, right? Teachers plan out their curriculum in advance, and they hope that they can meet the needs of all the kids, but they know that in a class of 25 kids or more, that they're really only going to meet the needs of those theoretical average learners. So they have a set amount of material that they need to get through. That's what they get paid to do, right? But this is where things usually fall apart. A lot of teachers think and are trained to think, well, I taught it, and I know many of the kids can learn the way I teach. It's not my fault if not every child in class can't learn the way I taught them, and I have no time to go back and review it anymore. It's test time. And the way the public school is structured, whether the child has learned it or not doesn't matter, because they just keep getting pushed through, right? Whether they should or not. So imagine, if you will, that a child leaves kindergarten and he goes into grade 1 not having mastered some or all of what they were taught in K. So now they're in grade 1 and they're being taught things that are layered on top of what they should have learned but didn't in kindergarten. So now that gap in their learning just grows bigger, right? And each year that gap will widen if we don't do what we need to fill in those holes. And so this brings me back to the original question, why should I assess my child and how often? And I would say you assess them to make sure that you are discovering and addressing the gaps in their learning. And I do it all the time, right? I'm constantly assessing. I start with a thorough assessment, and then I use my results to know exactly where to start and what to teach. And that assessment is going to pinpoint where the gaps are, and it's going to give me a baseline of what the child knows. That's important. And what they don't know. Then I just keep updating those assessments as I teach. I track it all in a very simple and easy to maintain way to see the progress the child is making over time. And my assessment tool is so easy to administer that anyone can do it. And it's very comprehensive. It's going to show you where the child is at in their alphabet awareness, their reading, their spelling, their printing, and their sequencing skills. And because this seems to be a question that I keep getting asked a lot, I actually put together the whole assessment toolkit that's based on my many years of experience teaching kids, and it's for sale in my shop. It has all the downloadable documents that you need to do an assessment, including both the phoneme or letter drill deck and the sight word flashcard deck, which are awesome. You can use those for the assessment, but just keep using them for daily review. It's awesome. And a video tutorial that shows you exactly how to do it. And as well, I also have the tracking sheets. And then you'll know exactly where your child is at, what they know, what they're missing, and you get to keep track as you teach. So I'm going to post the link for that in the comments below. And I also have a webinar coming up next Thursday evening, January 26th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where I'll talk in more detail about this assessment. We'll talk about how we actually learn best so that you know how to teach more effectively, how to set a good teaching pace so that you're not overwhelming or boring the child, how to keep your child motivated and even excited to learn. And yes, you can do that. And basically, how to plan for your child's success, right? So if you're wondering about any of those topics, I really encourage you to hop onto the call. It's free. I've got lots to share with you. Plus, you'll have the opportunity to ask me any questions you may have. And I have lots of free bonuses and a special offer for those who join me. So you really don't want to miss it. So I will post the sign me up link below as well for you. And that is what I have for you guys today. I really hope to see you next Thursday evening. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm always here. I hope you guys are heading towards a great weekend and happy teaching.